and on YouTube. And what I'll do, so you'll see me looking down on the side, is because I'm basically running another computer where I'm talking to people and inviting people and stuff like that. So I ain't dissing y'all. I'm just kind of looking down. Hold on. Oh, this is still open. Okay, bam. So let me read through this here, and then we're gonna get started. I'm so excited. Okay. Make my computer be like, are you serious? There we go. Okay, that's one. So, all right, peace and blessings, family. Welcome to Sunday Sitting with Sisters. I want to thank my guests for joining me today. We're joined by some awesome, awesome women. I'm just going to give you a little blip. So we're joined by Minister OnleiLove. It's pronounced OnleiLove. I would say Only I Love when I was looking at the way it was written, but it's OnleiLove. Austin, founder of this Prophetic Whirlwinds, was born and raised in East New York, Brooklyn. OnleiLove is also a community organizer, speaker, and writer. And then we have, my computer's moving fast. Then we have, go up, Sister Bambi. Okay, and she is the co-owner of the Honey Throne Ovalstein Bar, which I love. I think I've been there twice. And then last but not least, we have Dr. Nicole Clavo, is the founder of the Healing Five Foundation and the mother of a murdered 17-year-old son, JJ Clavo, who refuses to be silenced. All right, y'all, that's what we got this morning. So my check-in with y'all is, how you doing during this COVID-19 quarantine? How's it working for you
all? I'm actually doing very well. I think that this has been a time for us to be able to sit and reflect, self-reflect. Yes. We're seeing more parents being able to sit with their children with no distractions, not having to go to work. So we're seeing that family bonding time again. People are eating dinner at the table again. We're seeing more entrepreneurs come to light. So for me, I've been able to do all of that, and I'm loving it. You know, we're warriors. So We've always overcome any adversity that's been thrown our way. So for me, this warrior is standing strong, and standing firm. I'm doing good over here.
Yeah. Amen. What's next? Check in.
For me, well, it's the most time I've spent in the house working in, I don't know, 100,000 years. Back in the kitchen cooking. I swore I would never cook again once my kids got stove height age, and my kids are grown, but I got parents I care for, and so cooking every day, relaxing, taking long walks, and making sure keeping my health up to date, still controlling my health and what's going on, and being able just to be here and have this family time where I'm not rushing to meetings and, running out to do this and running out to do that, but just quality time doing puzzles, coloring in coloring books, things of that nature, so I'm okay with it. I'm really good, in a good space.
Right on. What about you, OnleiLove?
So good morning, everyone. Personally, I am doing well. I, am working from home, and ministry is from home and on Zoom. I'm not a cooker, but I also have been cooking more. So that is a miracle within itself. I had my first Passover Seder at home. In my tradition, we observe Passover. And often I would go to like big Seders that were hosted at my temple by other people, but being able to have it in my home with my roommate and then join people from all over the country via Zoom, that was also special. And there's a lot of overlap between, the Passover story and this quarantine. So it's been a blessed time to reconnect. I've connected with so many people, and I'm introverted. So some time in the house is good for me. But as a minister to our people, I also hold the pain of many who have passed away or who have COVID and are nervous. In the New York City faith and justice community, we lost two really powerful Black faith leaders that did a lot for justice. They were on the front lines, Bishop Joseph Williams and Bishop Gwen Dangle. And so I just give honor to them and hope that they rest in power, but just holding that pain that though it may be okay for me, there are many in the community that are hurting and that are looking for answers. So I've been really trying to make sure I keep myself centered and that I'm still taking care of myself during this time so that I can be there for others.
I know. So with that being said, what kind of things do you do to keep yourself balanced and well and during this time? Because sometimes being shut in sometimes can make people feel a certain way because people still have to deal with whatever they have going on in their lives just because we have a stay-at-home order. How do you all deal with that?
So,
Anybody can go.
Okay. So for me, I make sure that just like I schedule in my work meetings and my ministry commitments, that I schedule in my personal prayer time, my personal meditation time on meditating on the word. I make sure that I schedule in, eating what I need to eat, taking the supplements I need to take, and, making sure that I'm still doing my self-care practices and that I'm also getting enough news that I know what's going on and I can accurately do my job, working with advocating around mass incarceration and working with court-involved youth and ministering to our people. But I make sure that I'm filtering what I'm listening to and that I'm not consumed with COVID news all day long. So still trying to balance that, every day there's a choice that I can make to have joy. And so I don't overconsume myself, but I do want to be aware. So those are some of the things I do. And also journaling, because I'm a writer, that helps me process a lot of the different emotions during this time.
What about you, Sister Bambi? What do you do?
Well, I've actually been doing some of both what the minister and Dr. Clavo said. Dr. Clavo, I've been also doing the running and the jogging. I have a group of friends. We've been friends for 20 to 30 years, and we've been on Zoom doing a fitness workout. So that's been helping us Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not realize that you can really burn so much working out from home. Also, I've been taking this time to write a lot as well. I've been creating, and that has been keeping me, I would say, balanced, doing what I love now, creating different herbs and just making sure that I'm giving my body the proper nourishment that it needs, because we know we're eating more while we're sitting here at home.
Mm-hmm.
I've been riding the bike with my daughter, and so been giving myself the self-care and love that I need, reading more, finding myself reading more, and just being out and getting the vitamin D now too, sitting in the sun. Last weekend, I sat with my daughter and my mother, and we just sat in the sun for, a few hours and just soaked up as much vitamin D as we could,
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Dr. Clavo? What are you doing?
Well, I'm still advocating from the couch. So I'm still working with some of the community organizations and with the church to make sure the elderly is getting fed and things of that nature. I just put in an order for some masks to be able to donate. And so I'm still doing that advocacy with the advocates, the DA advocates, for families and whatnot. And then, I am working from home, so I'm still having to do that type of, the work that I do, which is advocating for, officers. And then just trying to keep my mind busy in regards to, I started back doing puzzles, I love puzzles. They're not as easy as they were as I recall, because I recall them 750 pieces is not that easy. My mind is not as sharp. And then, keeping up on the internet, reading and, dissecting what I need to be putting into my body in words and what I don't need to be putting in there. And then, I'm in touch with my minister, with my reverend, every other day or so, so we sit and we have our long talks, and we talk about the world, we talk about family, we talk about Christ. And so making sure that even though I'm not in the house, going to church every Sunday, church is in me, and ensuring that I'm still celebrating what I believe in and what I'm focused in, and still trying to walk in that shadow.
Right on. So so you mean you're when you're religious beliefs, I think sometimes when people spin a story, they always spin it like it's everybody. So like it's Sunday morning. Do you still attend, for those who attend church? You mentioned that your minister is okay with you like doing church from home or coming in?
We don't really have a choice, right? So there's no church houses. So I watched Dr. Godot this morning already. I've seen Bishop Lovelace this morning. And so at 10:15, after I get off the phone with you, Macedonia will show, recorded services from the past. So every Sunday I sit and watch that. And so, we have to, if this is what you do, and everybody, everybody has different beliefs or belief in different things, and they celebrate how they celebrate. I celebrate on the couch on Sundays watching services, which feed my soul in my pajamas.
Yes, and for
Look,
me,
I put a black shirt on for y'all today. I'm sorry.
Thank you. For me, we've been meeting since the lockdown on Zoom for Sabbath services, for Passover, we had a Rosh Kodesh, which in Hebrew is New Month gathering on Zoom Friday night, and we were and the beauty of it is now you're able to have people from all over. One ministry that I fellowship with, Zoe Ministries under Archbishop Jordan, they've been doing a 24-hour revival with different ministers and prophets. You can call their number anytime and get a prayer or hear a song. We're still doing, for me, it's bringing home that the temple is within. Oops, sorry. It brings home that the temple is in us, as Apostle Paul wrote in the New Testament, the renewed covenant. And so, we were chasing buildings, but now this is forcing us to look within and to go back to the original assembly, which was the home. Many of the first century congregations were birthed out of women's homes, and a lot of them were what we would call Black women. And so, they were worshiping in their homes. And so it's kind of been, it is difficult not to be able to have that physical contact. But like Doctor said, now you can kind of Zoom ministry hop, meaning you can you can visit various ministries over the weekend via technology. And now my friend in California can be in our Sabbath service, and we can have that experience together. It's made me a little sad that some of our people are risking themselves to go, in a building when the spirit is within us. And I hope many faith leaders are taking the precautions, because some are still meeting, and some of our elderly especially can be at risk.
Right on. Yeah. Bambi, for you, what are you doing during this time?
I'm meditating more. I'm finding myself meditating more. That was something I struggled with the last couple of years with, opening the business. And so I'm having the time to do that. I've been adding to my ancestral, my altar, and just doing my spiritual work, but even though I have a different belief, I still tune on to my my gospel music. I just watched the Clark sisters. And
yes, I have to watch that.
That was good.
Those are my girls.
Looking at my mom, though, for real. When I was watching it took me right back to that, the glasses and the.
Didn't it? Yes.
Oh, them big old huge glasses. Oh, my mom had them.
Yeah, so that was good. That fed my spirit. That was nice to feel that. Yeah.
Right.
So, and even my mother will call each other. My grandmother will do a prayer on the phone. I haven't done the Zoom church gatherings, but I have been doing it with my sister. I've also held a sister circle where we all were able to just worship and just love on each other.
I know. So,
Virtually.
so let me ask you this: since y'all all watched the Clark sisters, what was it about that? Anything in that movie you could relate to, whether if you've seen it or felt it or experienced it in that movie? What was, because that movie really, a lot of people just put their head up and go like, man, like it was so nostalgic for some people. If you grew up in the church, I'm from Philadelphia, so I remember my mom in the choir role, singing in the choir, like, just, her life as a woman, and
Right.
And being a woman who had talents and gifts, and those things are being taught, like you shouldn't shine as much, or like, did you see anything in that movie that made you relate to your own experiences in life?
I felt when I watched it, when I looked at their mother, I saw my mother.
Me too.
I saw the strength of a woman, and the way that I was raised. My mother taught me to, you get it out, but you dig deep inside, and you keep on moving, you keep on going. And so it reminded me of seeing my mother, just having a woman who did not allow me to fall victim to my own thoughts, to my own worry, who just told me that I can do whatever I wanted to do, and you are going to do it. We're going to get through this, and we're going to make it work. You find what you can do. And I love that. It just reminded me of that moment. And to always be able to be able to pray and work through those things, to love on my sisters, to be the role model for them, because what was the other sister's name? I can't remember her name right now.
I thought it was Karen.
Karen the old, no. Was Twinkie the
Twinkie?
Twinkie was the oldest.
And I was the oldest.
Musical genius. Yeah.
Who was it?
I think Twinkie.
It was Twinkie. Okay, so Twinkie was the oldest, and I was the oldest. So I had a lot of responsibility as well. And my mother used to say, I was right there with my mother and did everything with my mother. So it kind of reminded me of that role myself.
Your twin.
Yes.
Your twin.
That's my yes.
I was raised in a Catholic household, so I didn't have that same church experience until I was sent, into the summertime when I would go to my grandmother's house for the summer. So my parents, raised us Catholic. And so if y'all been to a Catholic service, you're not getting all that at all. So I would say with the mom, though, that disciplinarian, the mom being that disciplinarian and having that hard hand, that strictness, that was my mom. My dad was the pushover. My mom was the boss, and so we had that fear instilled in us as they did. And so it was never a question. You didn't question mama, what mama said went, and daddy backed it up 100%, and it was going down that way. And when you challenged her, it was a problem. It was going to be some issues and some repercussions. And so with the mom, that strength, just reminded me of my mom. For, my parents are now today been married 53 years, but my mom, I always explain it as my mom being married, we having a father, but she also raised us almost as a single mom, because my dad was military and he was gone all the time. He was Navy. So he was gone on a ship majority of our childhood, or stationed in Panama, or stationed in different countries during our upbringing and our raising. And so even though we knew we had a dad, we knew they were married, when he was in the house, he was away providing for his family so much of the time. And so watching that strengthen her, I think that's where I see the mom in the Clark sisters, just that strength, that resilience, that ability to take care of business and handle things without that man being present.
And I have not watched the full documentary yet, but I do have it down to do. I'm very familiar though with the Clark sisters, love them. And I think we underestimate like the musical genius especially of the oldest one, Twinkie, and just, oof. But I am very familiar with some of the sexism that came out in the film that their mother, faced, and even, her having to stop performing with her children. And I've been, doing ministry since my teenage years, but I got ordained this summer. And in my tradition, I guess it's a little bit controversial for women to be ordained. My temple was founded by my pastor's grandmother, so we didn't know it would be so controversial. But once my ordination was streamed, we learned, just how controversial it is still for, a Black woman to serve in ministry. So I've really been pulling on my support system, like my sister Danielle that connected me to Sister Ro, and just making sure that I have the audacity that Mother Mickens had, who founded my temple 67 years ago, a Black woman that taught herself Torah, who was a foster child. Like, I partially grew up in foster child. Just uncovering the history of the founder of my temple. And even when we look at the stories like the Clark sisters, it's like we still have to be audacious as Black women to say, we get to communicate about the spirit as well, because we give birth. Even Yeshua, Jesus, had to come through the womb of a 14-year-old unmarried Black woman. And so I think stories like the Clark sisters can be entertaining, but I'm happy that a lot of women of faith are having conversations about the sexism. I never knew, being younger, of the sexism that the family and especially the mother faced, because now everyone celebrates the mother. But, it's good that she pushed forward with all her daughters. And now we see Kiki, the younger sister, not having to go through certain things. So I am going to watch it. But so far, I've been having a lot of discussions about the sexism that they went through. But they are geniuses. Ooh.
I think one of the things I related to the most in there is watching how she stood. Like, something about watching the Black woman just kind of hold her ground, but do it. She wasn't angry when she did it.
Right.
I mean, she had the right, but she was so dignified. And that's what I remember. My mom would have her head up. She'd be like, "You never walk like you always walk with your head, and you always got a dime in your pocket, And so I felt that from the mother, just the way her daughters were choosing to get married, working through her own fear of knowing what was out there, but still having to stand by her daughters, even when they made decisions that weren't good, because she knew them. It was kind of like when the thing happened with Twiggy and the man who married her, she knew something. It kind of reminded me of Sparkle, the old Sparkle, when she was like, "Girl, no." But she, it was hard because she knew, because parents know their children. They know the children need extra time. They know the child that got it. They and everything in between. And so there she was juggling, and she had all those girls, because girls are just different than boys. Girls.
No.
So, but I think in that movie, to me, I think anybody who have the blessing of being under a woman like that, you'll never forget them. When they're gone, they'll still be walking the planet.
That's right.
That's how that's the work she put in. I mean, they are who they are because of their mom. To be very honest with you,
when
they was like, she don't let us do what we want to do, because she was
that part.
Because she knew what they was going into.
That's true.
Oh, that part.
Yeah, these were her. They was like, I want something of my own. Because everybody go through that phase. Like when you move out to a man's apartment, when you should have just stayed home and saved your money and bought a house. You don't even think I'm leaving.
Bro.
I was that daughter that was it's my life. I can do what I want to do. You had your life. Let me, so I was that rebellious daughter that was, you can't tell me what to do. It's my life.
Oh, she got the hand up.
Yeah. So it was really crazy. So totally get it.
I did that too, Dr. Clavo, but I quickly learned. Okay.
Yes, man.
Well, my grandmother raised me.
I got some wounds.
Yeah, for part of my childhood till 18, even though I did move out the day before my 18th birthday to go to college, but I couldn't do the hand, because Freddie Mayer called me right now while I'm on this Facebook Live and check me. But
I I think that is just so beautiful, and it was nice to see that captured in a film that way.
Yes.
Because sometimes I was talking to
Yeah.
young people about growing up with women like that, and they haven't even seen her. They don't even,
Never. They have no
like,
idea.
that's my mama. Like that I'm this way because of my mama. You know, I say that to today. So some of us have never seen an example of that person.
Well, it took me back to being back home in Texas. You know, it's a totally different upbringing when you're from the South. You know, I remember coming here and saying, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. And people look at me like I'm crazy and say, don't call me that. It makes me feel old. I'm like, it's a respect thing. I'm like, this is what I taught her to say. This is what she's going to say. You better say, I don't care what they say, okay? So I taught my daughter that, to say the same thing. And it's just a respect thing, you know?
Yes.
So where I saw that respect and how they feared their mother. Not necessarily in a bad way, but they knew that you can't play with mama like that. You know, she threw that shoe across that organ. That took me back. I've had my mother throw something at me. Are you gonna do what? Hold on. Yes. And still to this day, I know. You know, there's certain things that I cannot, even as an adult woman. There's certain things that I still cannot say around my mother, and there's a certain amount of respect. My grandmother around, I say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. When I go back home to Texas, you know, I never cursed in front of my dad and my stepmother, and you know, it's just a certain level of respect that you have, and we don't see that now.
Right.
We don't see that now.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the respect for that matriarch and that mother, you know, like that queen mother that you see on the continent, you know. Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say, one of the questions that I had when I watched that, you know how you watch something that just brings up things for you, just like, you know, I used to always wonder, and even with my mom, so my mother was, you know, separated because Black folks where I was coming, they didn't get divorced, they became separated.
Like my grandmother and grandfather, 30 years separation.
Separate, you know. But I always wondered, like, and this is my truth, I always wondered, like, did she ever want to date someone else, or did she ever want to find another husband? That I felt the same with my mom. Like, don't you want to date? Girl, I'm still married to your father. Y'all ain't been together in 10 years. Like, you know, I don't say that to her out loud, but as a woman, I said, God, did she ever want to be married again? Like, you know, because that's something that I've never heard them really talk about, huh?
I wondered that myself, and when I see that still to this day, I still see that there are relationships and marriages like that, where people are separated and you know, they find themselves. I have friends who are separated, and their children come first, you know, with everything that they do, and that means one of them just that they're not dating. I have a girlfriend who I was sitting with the other night, and she hasn't dated anyone in 8 years. And her focus has been elevating to the next level in her career and her daughter.
I get that.
Right. And I think we kind of saw that with the mother, with her children, with her girls. Yeah, she wanted them to be successful and be more than what she was. She didn't want them to have to go through what she went through. And if that meant sacrificing herself with love and everything else, I think she was willing to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. I just know that when you look at how we have higher diabetes, we have higher hypertension, we have higher, because what you don't address in the physical, what you don't address mentally comes through the physical. And so because my mother, when she died, I watched my mom lay up on that bed and just wondered to myself, like, because she never talked about that. It don't mean she didn't want it.
Exactly.
It just means And how did that affect her health?
Yeah, because my colleague, my big brother, Dr. Kenneth Howard, he says there's no such thing as an unexpressed emotion, meaning it's going to come out some way, not judging the decisions people make, but and even when we look at COVID and some of the pre-existing conditions that our people have, you know, I do wonder about some of the sacrifices that were made. And then what are the beliefs that led to those sacrifices? And not in a judgment way, but in a way of evaluating so we can address maybe what the previous generations didn't address. Because it's very natural to, you know, want to be loved, wanting to be touched. I'm not a hugger, but now that we've been on quarantine, now I'm like, I want to hug people. But, you know, these things are, it's like everyone knows, I'm like, but, you know, these are some natural things in life, and like how as we as a new generation of Black women, like how can we make sure we're getting everything that we need emotionally? You know, and sometimes people didn't remarry because they thought they would be committing a sin. And so we need to talk about some of the theologies around marriage and divorce, because in the Torah, even Yahshua, Jesus himself, it was something that was allowed, because covenants get broken. But I've known some to just take lifelong vows, you know, of almost widowhood because of their belief, and then maybe the man remarries. So I'm always thinking as a faith leader, like, what are you teaching people? That's either binding them or loosing them. What we bind on earth will be bound in heaven. What we loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. You know, and companionship is so basic. We see it now in the quarantine. So,
Clavo, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, ma'am. I'm just amening everybody because it's good answers.
I always thought about that when I think of health and particularly with Black women, and I see us struggling with some things. And I'm not saying having a mate is the end all, the be all, but I also know that we're not by ourselves. So sometimes we pour all our love into our children, which is awesome, but then children have to leave. So we watch her struggle when her children left her.
Right.
Trying to break free to leave. That's when her sickness came down.
Yes.
oh,
Well, because where the mind goes, the body quickly follows, right?
Yeah.
So,
But we didn't have those people, you know, her babies to love on because they needed to break free and do what they needed to do. That's when her sickness was showing up. And all I'm saying is, when I'm the type of person I look at historical, even my own family. I had my great grandmother lived to be 102, and my next great grandmother,
amazing.
then my grandmother, lived to 52, and then my mom lived to be 52. So it's kind of like, what happened? But I also watched the way they loved and how they loved them. My mother reminded me so much of the Clark mom, just in terms of like, I'm still married to your father. My dad done went on about his business, ended up getting remarried. You know what I mean? Like, but to her, it's like, you know, that those marriage vows, you know, having a part of a Catholic background, because you know in Catholicism, that's how
you can't.
And my grandmother was deaf and mute, and the Catholics paid for her school, so she was Catholic. So it's kind of, you get these really strong messages. You're trying to also role model to your girls. My mom would say, I would never want no other man around my children. Like, that's how she was, you know, like, y'all gonna be grown. Then we were grown, and she still was like, I'm still married to your daddy. Like, we ain't even in the house, you know what I mean? So it's just like those kind of things. But she also died of diabetes. Her mom died of diabetes. You know, I go back and like, there's some links here. And we know that diabetes is about not having enough sweet in your life. We know that. We know that's what it is. I just think when I looked at that, I was like, wow, we don't never really talk about that sometimes as Black women. Like,
I think that's one of the things too that I thought about is who did she talk to? Did she have any sisters that she was able to sit and deal with? You know, express herself and how she felt, because she still was a woman. She was a woman before she was a mother. You know,
Yeah. Say that.
I just think like one of the things in my growing as a woman, probably the first, I'll say 25 to 30 years, probably close to 30 years of my life, female friends was never essential to me. I never felt that it was a need to have them. It always, to me, I felt it brought drama and just issues I didn't want to have. I had a sister, you know, I had cousins or whatnot, and the outside of family, I didn't have the norm female friends. And as I started growing into my womanhood, you know, 2 kids later, I had 2 friends, you know, that I met through work and, you know, traveling and able to do things with. And then that sisterhood, that bond was formed and created. And then they were family. They weren't friends, they weren't co-workers, they were family. And so learning through growth what we need versus what we think we need
that's very
is amazing,
true,
right? Because we have put this wall up thinking, you know, that everybody's the same, you know, that every time I talk to a woman, but then finding those women with like-mindedness, spirits, and
Mhm.
and carry the same heart and soul goals that you have, that you can actually create that bond with. It separates that from friendship to family, right? I have more friends that are family than I have family that's family.
Right.
Mhm.
My bonds are thicker with water than it is with blood. And
Right.
so to be able to grow to understand that, for me, was huge. That was huge, to be able to accept women into my life and build that relationship with, and not continue to live life thinking that I can't have female friends. I
Yeah.
can't have sisters outside of what my parents birthed.
Yeah.
Was
And
huge.
wow, that's so true, doctor. And with this whole quarantine process, my friends in Harlem, Danielle, who was on this platform, and my other friend
Hmm.
Shanae and Nalisha, we got together and strategized, shared masks, shared food, and even everyone went around and said what they needed. And so
Hmm.
often, as the minister, as the organizer, as the big, so you're not asked what you needed. And I shared something in relation to my mother. And my friend Shanae has been helping me with that. And another friend from my temple, Asheria. And I'm just floored because, sometimes we're taught not to, express our needs, or your girlfriends are messy. But I've learned the older that I've gotten is that, like, that sister circle is so
Mm.
critical. And it even
It's
helps you to
critical.
be able to love the brothers in your life in a better way.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
love, most of all, love yourself. But just to come around, Harlem and Bronx sisters with so much uncertainty, and to plan and to strategize. And I've just seen so much of that during
Right.
this
Yeah.
this time. And it's really sad when I see a woman, and especially a Black woman, and she say, "Oh, I can't do, women friends." That's very sad
Right.
for me. And
Right.
I
Right.
understand
Yes.
some of what's behind it, but it's just
Hmm.
really feel like it's almost a wound in injury, and we know that can
Yes.
cause some health issues too. So
Absolutely. And a lot
Yes.
of times
Work
Yes.
through that.
that does
How do you
derive
work through
from.
that? Dr. Clavo shared us, but how do you work through
hmm
friends with other Black women? Because I know we're in the era where always when you see us on the media or who get love is the dramatics, the drama, the cussing you out, the competing for the man,
that's true.
to be a man,
Right.
like he's a third of a man or something. Like, how do you work through
hmm
that?
Mhm.
One, I think, not having unrealistic expectations of others, right? Sometimes we
Mm.
place expectations on others that we think you should act this way. We think you should respond this way. We think you should be this person because I'm that person. And we're all
hmm
individuals. So being able to understand every person you come across is different in their own way, and
hmm
respecting them for their differences, and understanding that you have a choice to either deal with their differences and love on them
hmm
continuously, or not deal with them and exit them out of your life. And those are things as adults that we have to understand. I can't force Ms. Bambi or force Minister to act one way because, oh, well, I act like this. I do this. I
hmm
want you to be that way. I want you to
Yeah.
respond how I want you to respond. That's a
Yes.
controlling
The
mechanism, right?
manipulation.
And
Yeah.
manipulating, a person, or wanting to drive them to be who you want them to be, and not allowing them to be their authentic self. And
Mhm.
so once we respect people for their authenticity, we will get further in life, and we will be able to love on them regardless. I have people who don't like me. I have people that love me. I have people that stand in the middle, and I love them all genuinely. I respect them for their opinions. I got people that really is mad at me, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I'm okay with me. I'm in a
Right.
good space. I'm in a happy place. And I will not allow anyone to control my happiness except for me.
hmm
Ooh.
hmm And I had the one minister, Reverend Alvin Jackson. He used to always say, "Honor the divinity in difference." He would
Mm.
Yes.
always say that, honor the divinity and difference. And once I started doing that, it takes the pressure off of these
Mhm.
expectations, but even the expectations you have of yourself. Like I like corny 80s music. That's just gonna be me. You know, certain things, roll up notes. I love me my African attire. But you know, I think we get into conflict because we're not honoring the divinity and difference that our
Yes.
people have. We're not a monolith, like Sister Rose
Right.
said. And that's okay. Because
Right.
that's divine.
Yes.
Like it's beautiful seeing us all sit on here, and a lot of us come from out of different traditions, but we all Black women at the end of the day.
Right.
All Black women.
Yeah, I
Beautiful Black women, I might say, because y'all kill.
Yes.
Yeah, but
The original.
You
the
feeling it
original
too,
woman.
Doc?
yeah, but that's so beautiful in itself that we could even have those kind of conversations and to add our wisdom and who we are to the mix. That's what I love about Black folks. You don't know what you're gonna get with us, but I love it.
You
I'm
don't.
like,
You don't. You don't.
you know, like one of my girls
We are
said,
so
man, one of my girls said, man, I love being a Black girl because it's lit. And I was like, man, like, you know, because it is lit. Because you just never know what you gonna get.
Mhm.
How do we work through betrayal when we betray each other as Black
Woo.
women? That is major.
Woo.
That's a big,
Mhm.
that's a
Woo.
big business. How we work through that? You know,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we all been through some kind of thing where you was like, I'm so sick and tired, but I had to always try to keep it to the person. I had to stop myself
Yes.
to
Yes.
this person because I'm getting ready to say Black women. No, I can't say that because this is this one person.
Right.
I don't even know.
Mhm.
But how do you work it? Because betrayal is big.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
I
it's
think
like
it's-
grapefruit on something white. I mean, like a grape juice on a white dress. Like you might.
Ooh, it just hurt you to the
Get it
core,
out.
don't it?
How you
Just,
get that out of there? Yeah.
But I think one thing for me is also going to the practice of forgiveness and even making a deliberate choice, not an emotional choice, but also living through the emotions of the betrayal. Because some people spiritually bypass the betrayal to get to the forgiveness and even the reconciliation. So I have to work through what I felt. We got to acknowledge it. And then I can make a choice to forgive, but even distance myself. Boundaries are okay. There's a scripture in Deuteronomy that says, like, you're sinning if you move your neighbor's boundary. And I use that to teach our people it's okay, but also, like Ro, you said, keeping it to the individual and trying not to let betrayal hem me up so I can't enter a new friendship. Like, if I have a thought like, oh, well, this happened the last time, then I try to shut that off because then you rob today of the joy. You know, a betrayal may happen 5 years from now. You shouldn't be silly. But if you're always thinking about the shoe dropping, then it's like you rob yourself of what you can have today. And sometimes if the betrayal is so deep, I'll go sit in front of a counselor. And I'll keep it 100. You know, I just will do that. Some betrayals cut so deep that you have to, you know, go for help to process them. And I'm not ashamed, you know, of that as well. I feel like counselors have a call on them just like ministers, sometimes
yes,
even
ma'am.
more powerful.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I think for me, go back to my growth. Because I used to be a stick of dynamite just waiting for the the match to light. I was horrible. My family hated dealing with me. People around me hated me because I would just blow up just in 0.2 seconds. I could take the roof off of a building. And so that betrayal, that forgiveness came from learning and understanding that it was not hurting anybody but me. Sister Ro, if you offended me today, you be done forgot tomorrow, but I'm still holding on to that anger and pain inside me, and it's manifesting and festering inside of me and having me walking around angry, health declining, and all of those things. And until I learned to take control, I always, when I'm talking to people in the community and moms that are going through those type of emotions of betrayal or hurt or pain, the things that I like to express to them is I use the analogy of an ATM card. You got a code, you got a 4-digit PIN code to your ATM card. That's how you need to treat your mind, your soul, and your emotions. You don't give out your ATM PIN code. Because when people have that code, they think they can say and do whatever it is they want to say and do to you to push you over that edge, to have you out of your character, have you cussing, acting up, standing in the streets, on social media, being keyboard gangsters, and all of the above to other people. But they're controlling your actions and your movements. So you know the best way to kill anger is with kindness, or just ignore it. Put smiley faces. It might be a little antagonizing to them, but I'm in a good space. I'm in a good space. I'm not going to give you that ATM code to control my emotions, because I know I got into a lot of trouble when I used to give out my ATM code.
Right.
I put myself in some real precarious, positions, and that affected my career when I was in the military and stuff, because my anger got the best of me and I allowed people to control me. And so once I lost enough, I learned that I was allowing them to have dominion over my soul and be able to move me like a puppet. I became a puppet, and I had to figure out how not to allow that to happen.
Bambi, how, because you deal a lot in herbs. When women come into that honey throne, y'all gotta go. If you ain't been, you need to go. I've been twice. I'm gonna come back again as soon as it's what blends would you, or that's used the most when women are trying to clean out themselves? First of all, tell us a little bit about what you do, because I think this is the other part. We don't take care of one of the most important things on our body, that emotion moves through too, and we do a lot of abuse to that area as well.
We do, and that trauma stays right there, specifically in our reproductive system. So we see a lot of women that are walking around with the fibroids, the cysts, the heavy periods every month, or just that anger, that anger from their childhood trauma, from their relationships, like we said, when someone betrayed them, and that just stays right here. And it causes a chemical reaction with our reproductive system. We're seeing a lot of women with infertility issues, and again, that's just from holding on to things. I'm not going to tell you the blends exactly.
You can't give up the formula.
More lavender, or somebody using more, like what's used the most when women come in? What are they asking for the most?
Mugwort is one that cleanses a lot, so we use that with every blend. But we also have blends that we give you to drink, because we know that lavender or chamomile calms the mind. I've been working with some other herbs recently too, to help with anxiety, because we're seeing so many people right now that have anxiety. The anxiety and depression has increased significantly, because a few weeks ago people were worried. This is happening. We have not gone through this as a people, as the world. We have not gone through this. So lavender is a good one. Chamomile is a good one. I like Damiana. That's another good herb as well. Linden is one of my favorites as well. But these are not just blends for you to use for steaming, but to drink, and to calm the mind, to help just relax the mind a little bit. Yeah.
Right on. How do you know when you should be checking that area in terms of increasing the herbs? When do you
can feel it. If you can feel it. I mean, we should be connecting with our bodies now at this point. And you still have women who can't tell, when their body is going through changes. For me, when I was 19 years old, I had an ovarian cyst that had ruptured. And so I almost died. And I had felt that pain for months, and I didn't know my body at that time. I couldn't recognize what was going on until it was almost too late. And at that point, 2 months later, we were driving to Texas, and I felt my tailbone hurting. And my grandmother said, "Now, you just got out of the hospital 2 months ago for a surgery. You're not paying attention to your body yet?" And at that moment, I started to listen to my body. And I had to have another surgery 2 months later. Okay, I had another cyst. So there's just certain things that we have to learn how to just sit still and listen to our body. Are we breaking out a little bit more? Is your cycle a little heavier this month? Are you missing your cycle? Okay, what are you eating? Pay attention to what you're eating, because that all has a big part, a huge part on what our body goes through as well. I'm telling sisters right now, do not start filling up with mucus foods, acidic foods, the dairy. You know, dairy is terrible for us. Terrible for us. We know meat is too, and I'm not saying everyone has to join us on the plant-based side, but being honest with you, it's bad for our body. So right now, what you can do, if you're going to be eating those foods, implement more herbs. And just listen to your body. Listen to it. Are your breasts a little numb before your cycle? Sometimes that means you're eating too much acidic foods as well. You know, a lot of people think that that's normal. Women think that it's normal to have a 7-day cycle. Our cycle should only last 1 to 3 days. But because of the foods and all the toxins in the foods and how the foods have changed, we're seeing an increase in the number of days that where our periods are lasting. So we just have to become familiar and go back to getting back to know ourselves, listening to ourselves. And that is a part of self-care. That is a part of self-love. Journaling about your cycles, journaling, writing about it. You know, how did you feel this month? Were you depressed? You know, did you feel did you have cramps this month? You know, yeah.
And sister, would you also suggest to people intermittent fasting?
Absolutely.
And so,
important. We know if we go back to talking about the Bible, even the Torah, fasting is very, very important. And right now, to my Muslim brothers and sisters who are doing their Ramadan, I think this is very important for us all to fast, because the body needs a break. The body needs a break from eating, and especially because of things that we eat. We have to fast with everything. We have to fast with our minds. Sometimes turn the TV off. You know, put the phone down. Okay, so we definitely need to fast. Yes.
And, you know, some people, they'll do an intermittent fast. So, you know, you could do a 24-hour fast, but you can also do like 8 p.m. at night to 12 p.m. the next day. You don't eat. And then you eat between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. And it also helps build your immune system as well. I just recently learned that and want to share that as well.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people doing more intermittent fasting now. And I have girlfriends who they're on Zoom and they're cooking together at a certain time and they're all doing their fasting. And it's beautiful to see where we all are coming now with our health. I love to see, especially as Black women, you know, we're like, okay, we're taking our health back right now. You are not in control. We don't want you to these hospitals. We don't want your prescriptions. We don't want you doing this ourselves, because we are the medicine women. We are.
Yes. And in the Bible, it says all the herbs were given for the healing of the nations. And we see with what's happening, we have to go. Someone was like, oh, you know, castor oil helps with immunity. I'm like, man, grandma used to make us drink that nasty stuff. Now don't add the white sugar to it. You can add some agave or stevia, but it's like, we do have to take back those gifts. A lot of sisters have those gifts and don't even know it.
Right on. With that being said, are there different things in your families that you're trying to steer away from? Like diabetes is big in my family, so I'm like working hard on that. Hypertension is big, working hard on that. Like in terms of like, nah, because I know some of it has to do with lifestyle and how I have different choices that they didn't have.
Right. For me, diabetes was a big one. My great grandmother passed away a few years back of diabetes and complications. My father has diabetes. A lot of family members. We see that in the Black community. For me personally, I don't believe that things are necessarily passed down to us. I just think we choose to live the same lifestyle, and that's why we see the same things occur. So I've tried to break some of those things by the way that I eat, the way that I think, just being proactive and just doing my research, learning about things that I'm able to take. You know, again, getting back to the medicines, getting back to the herbs, and breaking those. Like I said, I don't like to call it generational curses or because we have the ability to break them. We have the ability to live a better lifestyle.
For me, I have diabetes, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, strokes, um, all, all of the Alzheimer's, dementia, everything in my family. Pretty much we didn't miss glaucoma. We didn't miss nothing around here. We got dished out everything. And so when I was 22, probably about 115 pounds, I was diagnosed with hypertension. So literally for X hundred years, I have been on high blood pressure medication, right? And so that was the thing, my mom, when I was at probably, my mom became disabled when I was probably in about the 7th grade. She had a coronary heart disease. They told her that she wouldn't live, gave her 6 months to live. And as you know, my mom is still alive. And that's been, we ain't gonna age me, but y'all know how old I am. So it was a long time ago. And so just seeing, those changes, right? And then I didn't because of relationships, because of stress, because of unknown, things I was going through, my body was responding, right? And so for so many years, I didn't live healthy because my mind wasn't healthy. My mental wasn't healthy, even though on the outside, people thought I was. They didn't know what I was internalizing. They didn't know what was going on in my household. And so they didn't know the stress I was dealing with and putting up with, which came out in my health, right? And so, hypertension and everything's under control now, but the fact is I'm still diagnosed with it, right? So I still have to watch that. And then having parents who have diabetes and, strokes and stuff running in my family, I still have to be health conscious of those things.
Question in the room. So when y'all get a time, go on to Facebook and go to this and answer some of these people's questions. Okay. I just don't do it online.
Yeah, okay.
But Margot, Sister Margot, Queen Mother Margot, she says she had the virus and now I'm weighing from 160. I guess she weighs 160 now. She was 180. How can I build back up my body to get back what I lost? I'm still really weak.
So some good immunity boosters, oil of oregano, that's a good one.
Yes.
Elderberries, elderflower, that is a good one. I also have the syrups. I have tinctures, elderberries, tinctures, and syrups. Let's see, spirulina is a wonderful immunity booster as well. And it's good for high blood pressure too, Dr. Clavo.
I'm coming to see you, Miss Bambi. I'm coming to see you.
Yes.
And to build up, if she wants to gain that weight back too, coconut meat and avocados. That's really, really good. Natural ways, natural fat, good fat.
I love it.
And
yes.
And one drink, easy tea that she can make is ginger. Just boil some ginger with cinnamon. The cinnamon kind of gives it that sweetness without adding to it. And you sip that throughout the day, and it does build up your immunity. Zoe Ministries had a doctor come in from Howard and actually teach the people during their revival about different things they can do to build up their immunity. And actually cayenne pepper, which a lot of us like, it helps build immunity. For me, some of the generational things I'm trying to fight on my father's side is allergies, severe allergies and leaky gut syndrome. And that is activated by stress. So trying to manage not only what I eat and the allergens, but also stress. And then on my mom's side, heart conditions, which I don't have. And I don't have high blood pressure now, but I'm also someone that tries to think, okay, I'm still kind of young, so I have to prevent certain things. So on both things, yes, what I eat matters, but also trying to really manage stress. With stress, I learned weakens your immune system as well.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, and I learned that in my late 20s, the hard way.
So I thank y'all for joining me for the first hour of Sunday Sitting with Sisters. This is somewhat of a new structure, thanks to Christy Ketchum with her suggestions. Because I've been basically talking to Black women wherever we are. I mean, on Sunday mornings. I don't know about y'all. I feel like I'm on 227 when they sit on that stoop and be like, they come on and she be like, ciao! Like in that morning, I feel like on Sunday I get to check in with other sisters, like, what y'all doing? What's going on? And get some information. Because growing up, desk. I'm from the East Coast, I'm originally from Philly, but I remember when you walk down the street, you talk to every elder you see. You talk to everybody, but the elders, you have to really stop and say good morning to them. Like you just can't be like,
Yes.
good morning, how you doing? You know. So this is my way of doing that. I think that's such a big part of being connected, is to share. So I thank you all for sharing with me this morning. Did you want to leave us with one word you want us all to remember from you? It could be more than one word, but
for me, just be safe, take care of yourself, stay healthy, get out, get some sun, get that D3, as Sister Bambi said. Love on one another. Use this time for self-reflection. We should all be self-reflecting right now on what life will be after COVID-19, and how just to continue to stay healthy and for ourselves and for others.
right on. And I shared all of you guys' information in the comments on Facebook.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just leave people with, yes, please be wise. Please take care of yourself. And please remember, there's no such thing as an unexpressed emotion. So as much as we want to do the physical stuff, please, take care of your shalom, your peace, your mental health. And right now, also take the time to build yourself up spiritually. And it's okay to mourn everything that you've lost in this season. Don't bypass it. And I just wish everyone shalom to them and their families and their homes.
I just want to tell the brothers and sisters to stay resilient, stand firm, continue to hold firm on your square. Understand that we are going to get through everything that comes our way, and take that time to just reflect, get to know yourself better. Because we're coming out of this, and we're coming out of this stronger and better. So utilize your time. Love on you. Love on your family.
Yes.
Peace, love, and light. And to you, Sister Ro, thank you for having us.
Yes. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you.
Thank you for this platform, for something so positive. We appreciate you.
Thank you for all you do. Yes.
So I hope y'all have a good rest of your day. I'm going to get the guest up in here.
You too.
So you too. Thank you.
You freeze? Thank you. Yeah.
Love you, sister.
All right, ladies.
Love you. Thank you.
Peace, love, and light.
Peace. Let's see who we got. We got adding on some new people. Let's see what's going on in here. Uh-oh. Here we go. Sorry. Hey. Okay, that's one. Okay, and then Sister Tamika, I see her. It says device not connected, but I see her. So I sent the message to Christy. Christy's gonna be my invisible engineer today.
Yeah.
So I see her here, but I can't connect her because she's not connected to the device yet. But welcome. How are you? I seen you and your husband earlier, but I couldn't connect on to y'all yet. So I see him standing there. So I was like, I'm excited about it. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Awesome.
You always look so flawless, man.
Ooh, you should have seen me like
that's some genetics.
What's up thing?
Genetics right there. People don't be, telling you about.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself and do it good, You look beautiful. You always look so beautiful.
Thank you.
How are you doing? How are you doing through this experience?
You know what? I'm doing amazing because everything is for a reason. And you take everything based on what it is to you. And so sometimes I think about, man, I can't go anywhere. I can't go to Ross. I can't get no retail therapy. But then I've been spending a lot of time here at the house doing stuff I have never been able to do.
Can you see me now?
Okay, I think they fixed it.
And hey, Tamika! And I'm excited because you know what? I see people doing stuff that you haven't seen in a long time. Walking. I took my grandson to Elk Grove Park, so you can't drive. So he rode his bicycle in the middle of the street in Elk Grove Park yesterday. So I'm good. I don't want to let this get to me based on all the information we're getting, which is too much.
Yeah.
But how are you doing with all this? You were ahead of this. You've been zooming and broadcasting forever. This is not new for you.
I got my walking up thanks to Christy. Them 10,000
I know.
days. I was proud of myself. I was out this morning like I put on some Crystal Waters, and you know how her music is like boom, 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 boom. And I was in there like, I was like, get it. Till I got to the house, I was like, ooh, Lord.
Yeah. Well, I did my first walk yesterday because I got a knee issue that Tamika gonna take care of for me.
That's right. That's right.
Miss Tamika, it's so good to finally see you. Chrissy talks.
You too. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having us.
No, I'm excited. I'm always excited to get this news in. I'm going to share your information in the Facebook comments. And as I shared with the last group that was on, like say if the sound messes up or on your end, all you got to do is go out and come back in because sometimes that corrects it. Or sometimes I hear buzzing, I may mute everybody except for the person that's talking.
Okay.
But that's all. That's a little homework.
And we got my masterpiece engineer over here, Christy.
Yeah,
so, she's gonna help us.
Hey, Christy.
Say hi.
So hold on, let me do this. I want to tell people a little bit about who you are. So hold on, so we can get right into it. So we have Miss Tamika Mosley. She's the founder of Everything Health LLC. She's a U.S. veteran, an herbalist. I love herbalists. Published author, global speaker, health and wellness consultant. So welcome, Miss Tamika. I'm so excited to hear what you got to say. And then we have, my computer's just jumping around. Then we have Miss Patricia Franklin, and she is the granddaughter of sharecroppers turned entrepreneur. But she's so much more than that. Like that's just the paragraph, the little sentence I picked out. But to me, she's extraordinary. I mean, you need somebody like Patricia Franklin in your life. Yeah. And I think if a lot of our families had the grounding, the root that is you, our families would look different. Because I love the way you think. I love the way you look at money. And I really love the way you love on people who come inside of your circle or even in your circumference. And so I'm so grateful to have been one of those persons. So with that being said, tell me about the event that you have coming up. We're going to build from there.
So the event that's coming up is our second annual Health and Wealth Conference. We had our first one last year, which was March. And you know what happened this year in March? So we kept pushing it back. Looked at airline tickets. They kept canceling for Tamika. She's all the way in Washington, the state of Washington. And so we just decided, based on what's going on, we better just get this done because people need this information. People need to know how to keep their health up in all of this. And the wealth and money thing is so important because this has devastated people financially. Some people. But I'm going to talk to you about what's happening to people in my business and how they're like growing like weeds. It's so amazing. So we're going to be on 10 to 12 on next Saturday, the 2nd. And it's going to be amazing. Tamika is so like, this lady, I don't know. So I'll get to that later, but that's what's happening. May the 2nd, 10 to 12 is a free conference. And it's going to be packed with information. We're going to be able to answer some questions, but we're going to leave it for possible to get consultations with Tamika and appointments and consultations with me and my husband for finance. Right on.
So let's talk about this. What's the health part? And I know that you're an herbalist. And the reason why I say I love herbalists, I've had personal experiences with herbalists. Ooh. I've had a situation before the person said, put this, and they went and got some stuff. I was like, what's that? What was that? And they was like, greedy to drink this. And then boom, I was back to know. I was like, what just happened?
Yep.
Knowing the herbs. Like, for me, I just feel like we got to really be, that's what our ancestors had, that we don't.
That's right.
Really.
That's right.
It's why they can work from sun up to sundown and still dance a jig, if you will. And then we work from sun up to sundown and we almost dead. So
almost dead.
Think about this. Our ancestors came from another whole continent and survived and multiplied. And now they're thriving. A lot of us are. So that's a big deal. That's never happened in the history of the world.
Real talk. Exactly. Real talk. So tell us about, how did you become a herbalist?
Okay, so I became an herbalist in, 2008. I had a child born with a fatal blood disease called sickle cell.
Cool.
And because I had this child, that changed the course of my life forever. And so my son turned 1 and he started having crises in the hospital every 2 months with splenic sequestration crises. At the end of the year, his body stopped producing red blood cells. And the doctor said, he has to have a blood transfusion, which that's what happened with people with sickle cell because their body don't produce red blood cells. And so a lot of them have strokes, organ damage, chronic pain. A lot of them die. And so we just spent a whole year of suffering at the hands of doctors. And so I had to wake up and educate myself because I know that God did not send us here for us to suffer. So I started researching, and the first thing I did was start changing our diets. But my son was only 1. And I'm like, okay, he's not going to eat 8 bowls of cabbage, 8 bowls of broccoli, 8 bowls of spinach. And so that's when I resorted to herbs. And I just started researching because Ezekiel 47:12 says the leaves are our medicine. Genesis 1:29, God said, I've given you every seed-bearing plant on the face of this whole earth, and it's ours for food. Revelations 22:2 says the herbs are for the healing of the nation. And Romans 14:2 says the man who is sick eateth the herbs. And that's when I said, oh man, I am happy. So that told me that God already gave us what we need. We just have to go find it. And I started finding things such as chlorophyll, nattokinase serapeptase, ginkgo biloba, and beetroot juice. And 3 years went by. My son had no crises. And by this time, I was blogging my whole entire journey, talking to people in Africa, because that's where I was trying to go. Millions of people in Africa dying from sickle cell. In Nigeria alone, there's 5 million people with sickle cell. So after 3 years, no crises, is when I wrote my first book, which is Sickle Cell Natural Healing, A Mother's Journey. This came out in 2013 because I had to be an inspiration to people, to let people know your child don't have to die, because that's all we know in sickle cell, suffering and dying. That's all we've ever known. But I'm going to tell you a story better than this. I connected with a company called Healing Blends Global in Florida that creates a product called Even Flow for sickle cell patients. And the people in Africa already using it, been using it for 5 years. So people in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, they're using Even Flow and haven't had any more crises. So in that 10-year period, God has just blessed me. You know, I've taken herbal courses and worked with some fantastic naturopaths. But in the 10 years, I've been blessed to help clients kill stage 4 cancer, heart disease, liver disease, hypertension, diabetes, Lyme disease, fibromyalgia. I mean, I am helping patients get their libidos up. You know, I consulted with a client with hypertension, diabetes, of course, and I'll talk about why African Americans have all that so much. And it's because of deficiency in D3 that we don't get from the sun, because melanin in our skin blocks it. So we got to start understanding, as Black people, we have to take these supplements. But important to know, when we take a D3, K2 has to be present, magnesium has to be present, and calcium has to be present. If all 3 of these are not present, then calcium is not going to go where it's supposed to go. D3 is not going to absorb where it's supposed to go, and you're going to have a mess. Now, we don't need extra calcium because we have plenty of calcium in our bones and teeth. So we just have to make sure we're getting that magnesium and K2 so things can work accordingly. But yeah, I've helped so many clients, and it's just unbelievable. I consulted with a client with stage 3 cancer last week. No, 3 weeks ago. She's been on the regimen for 2 weeks, and she's already having tons of energy. A wound is healing that she had. So she's feeling great. So when God said he's given us everything we need to sustain our health, that is a very true statement.
Right on. So how did you link with Miss Patricia?
Wow.
Well, I spoke at UC Davis.
Yeah, UC Davis conference 3 years ago.
Okay, yeah, it was a sickle cell conference I was invited to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke my little, 20 minutes? And there she was.
Rolanda, I had been following her for years because I was the sickle cell nurse coordinator at UC Davis for 25 years. Actually, the last 15 years totally concentrated on just sickle cell. So I searched around and looked for people who could help me help my families outside of what was happening at the hospital. And I had been stalking her forever online. And so when I saw her in the lineup, I was like, as soon as she got off, walked away, I stalked her. I connected with her, and then that was born. That's how we birthed the health and wealth. Because after spiritual health and wealth is like right after that. Mm-hmm. You have to have that, because not having one of those 2 things can kill your spirit.
Yes.
And have you make bad decisions based on your lack of. lack of health, lack of money to make sure your families are doing okay, you're doing okay. And so we put this together. We had an amazing conference last year. And we were in the process of building up really big, expanding it. And here comes Corona. But this is a perfect storm, though.
Yes.
Because what is this affecting more than anything for people? Their health and their money. Because a lot of people totally had to stop. One day they were making money, the next day they're not. And then they're hiding out based on all the fear tactics that are being done in our country to scare people. And Chris, I don't know if Christy told you, I came home after that broadcast on OWN. All those brilliant Black women were just talking about Corona, but they made it like we're in this together, but together to do what? Wait to see if you get it and die, or can you hide out from it? Or, like they gave no hope. It was so depressing. I told Christy, I'm so sick of this. Like, can we just, I know they know something about herbs and vitamin C. Like, I was like, if you just take some vitamin C, I don't try to take Tamika's part away from my knowledge. Because let me tell you something, Rolanda, this lady right here, when it comes to health, I like, we got to get some bodyguards around her, because she is a gem to our community, because she tells the truth, and she tells it forever and ever. Like, anything you tell her, she's like, girl, ma'am, let me tell you what you need to do. And she did it so long for free, Rolanda. Never getting any money, never getting any. And when she came to our conference, I told everybody, if you're talking to her, there's a fee. Like, give her the same ability to function and thrive as we do those doctors and all those other people in the healthcare system. Don't be afraid. Don't downgrade her. Don't just take advantage of that knowledge. So she's been better with that. But she's got a website where you can go on to a consultation. There's different fees for the consultation. But Rolanda, let me tell you something. When people are serious, they want to give her more money. Because the results are priceless. Like, you can't pay for your health if you can't find it. If you look at Steve Jobs, he had all the money in the world. He couldn't buy his health. And that was one of the last conversations he had. All this money, and I can't even buy my health back.
Wow.
You see, so it's priceless. And so we got together, and I've been working with Tamika. We get on the phone sometimes and talk like 2-3 hours, and then we talk about how to build wealth for her. And all the people in our community doing the work, like yourself. Like, when you want to go get away, you should have a resort waiting for you all, for you to just go check in. It's check-in time. I got a week. It's already paid for. I'm going to take somebody with me, and I'm going to have that downtime. We don't think of our people like that, that's in this work, the activists, the stuff like what you do. You should have a mansion somewhere with maids who pick your shoes when you get in and cook your food for you, so you can rest and be ready to do your work. But we don't do that. We just take the information and just keep taking and taking and taking. So we're going to change that, because we need to have you guys stay around forever. Like, y'all need to get cloned. So after those 100 years on Earth, there's Rolanda,
Yes.
another Tamika, and another Patricia, because that's why one of the reasons why I got out of nursing, y'all, because I was making a lot of money, but the government was taking all of it. And I was giving, and I was my family didn't get to see me that much. I had a pager because my passion. My families could page me in the middle of the night, talk to me about stuff. And Christy, I didn't even know it affected her. She's like, Mom, you was always on that phone talking to people about sickle cell. I said, but I was with you though, so we was together. But still, it affects you when you don't realize how much you give and give and give. And that's how I was able to make the decision to leave nursing as a profession. I still have my license, my RN license, but I am a consultant in the community. That's my charity. I need to be wealthy, because I don't need to be worrying about stuff like money. Money is flowing. There's money trees all over the place, but we just got to know where they are. when you all get ready to retire, you should have a retirement that you could pass on to your families after you leave. You should have a legacy. You're building a legacy in the community with information and activism. And Tamika, she's you were in the military, right, Tamika?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, and so she what's going to happen to her when she gets like 80 and she wants to just take a break and just, kind of back off from what she's doing? What are you guys going to do? You got to have a retirement. And that's what me and my husband teach people. We teach people how to build wealth with what you have. And you can do that. Let me tell you something about our business, Rolanda. The day that they shut the city down, the Department of Insurance sent us a letter and said, you all are essential. You can continue to do your work. What did they do with the healthcare people? They're essential. They didn't get shut down. That we're supposed to still help people. And so that told me right then I made the right decision. I went from one essential business, nursing, to another essential business. And then I have Tamika to help me stay healthy so that I can continue to do what I do. Because let me tell you something. If you have money and you don't have health, ask Steve Jobs' family how bitter he was.
Yeah.
And I use him as an example because he was one of the richest people in the world, right? So,
yeah. And I just received a testimonial from a former pro athlete who used to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Mr. Zimmerman is now 70 years old. And he wrote the most amazing testimony because when I met them 2 months ago, he had cataract surgery scheduled. He was contemplating a second knee replacement surgery. And the first day I talked to them, they have never talked to me before in life. I said, sir, you can cancel both of those surgeries. Woo! And, they started laughing and then, kind of shocked because, they couldn't believe it. But they started the regimen. And today, 2 months later, he can drive at night. He's canceled his appointment. The pain that he's been suffering for 25 years is gone. And he's now living a great life, a pain-free life. I mean, he is unbelievable. He cannot believe it. But it's true healing in the herbs. It's just, we have to know what to take, what to give, how much doses to give. Like my, another client had a huge mass on his thyroid. Okay. This was 2 weeks ago, but had to cancel the surgery because of COVID-19. Couldn't even have the surgery. I said, you don't need to have surgery. Go get this. And now it's not even been 2 weeks. That lump on his neck is already shrinking. It's already shrinking. God has given us everything we need. When I tell you I had a client with parasites crawling all over her head and her neck. Now you can't see it. You just feel it, And bentonite clay, simple as bentonite clay. She mixed this clay together. I told her to mix it with apple cider vinegar. Put the paste everywhere she feels those bugs crawling and leave it on for 20 minutes and then rinse it off. She'd been suffering for a whole year. She texted me 3 hours later and said, Tamika, thank you so much. I don't feel anything now. So we have everything we need. Even if they inject us with a poisonous vaccine, Rolanda, God activated charcoal to get the poisons out the digestive tract before it gets into the bloodstream.
Right on. So
May 2nd is going to be so.
I was going to say, so what I need is some information. So I post up here. So y'all, I'm on the side over here doing like comment control and inviting people, whatever. But then I was like, I know I was sent the information, but I'm trying to figure out how to move it over.
Right.
But I'm gonna figure that out.
Okay.
But okay. I think so. When is the date again?
It's May 2nd. It's from 10 to 12. It's going to be a Zoom conference. We're going to do the invitation. It's if you go on SAC, it's through the email. If you go to SAC Sister Circle, make it SAC Sister Circle at gmail.com, and then you register. I'm telling you, you are going to have a treat. Now, she's going to be able to give you more information at that time. But Rolanda, when I tell you, I sent her some, let me just tell you this real quick. I sent her to my friends, good friends. He had been having back pain forever. He was at a 10 every day, Rolanda.
Yeah.
I just talked to them last week. He's at a 2 or a 1.
0.
0. 0. Well, we're going to give all that. We're going to talk about all that on May 2nd. And you can also get a consult with Tamika. I know Tamika. Do you have her information for her?
I'm sharing like the basic information from you all that was given to me from Christy, but I'm trying to get the information off the flyer, but the way it is. But I'm gonna figure it out because that's what I do.
And Sister Rolanda, I've even helped people with coronavirus now.
That part.
It's so simple.
Let's talk about that right now. Right
so
now.
Simple. Okay, so one lady had a fever for 2 weeks. Headaches, backache. She was hurting so bad in her back, she could not even stand up. Lost 10 pounds. I mean, just excruciating pain. Went to the doctor twice. They've given her like 4 different antibiotics. And she's getting worse and worse. Sent her home. Wouldn't even test her. Actually, wouldn't even test her. Because she was around someone with coronavirus. And she just started going downhill quick. And so after she had tried the doctor medicine and 2 weeks of consistent fever, she consulted with me. She went and got the natural antibiotics and probiotics. And by the way, I am producing my own probiotic line. They will be coming out in 4 weeks. It's like 50 billion. And see, probiotics is crucial. This is the first step to healing the body because this puts the good bacteria inside of our gut. 80% of our immune system is found in our gut. So we have to make sure we have our gut intact. I heard somebody talking about leaky gut. That's all because they have no good bacteria inside of their gut. Once you boost your bacteria inside of your gut, healing will start to take place. But she got the supplements. She got her natural antibiotics, oregano, cordyceps, mullein. We need to get natural antibiotics that's going to protect our respiratory. And Black people need to understand to be taking a D3 because we're already deficient. We don't get it. We're severely deficient. When you're deficient in D3, it leads to 17 different types of cancer. You know, I think I talked about that. But she got her oregano, her cordyceps, her mullein. She started taking it every 30 minutes, like I just talked about. Her fever broke the same day. And the pain in her back was gone the second day. And she's back to normal in 2 days from taking God's Medicine Cabinet.
Wow. So that's the name of your lines, God's Medicine Cabinet?
Oh, no. Well, I just wrote my next book that I just wrote. It was released last month. And that's called Healing from God's Medicine Cabinet.
All right.
But my company is called Everything Health. So that's the name of my company.
All right.
Yes.
Now, so this is the Health and Wellness Seminar on May 2nd. What is the time?
10 to 12. 10 a.m. to 12 noon.
I like that it's 2 hours.
Yes. 2 hours. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something.
Damn. That's how
when you finish with them 2 hours, people going to be like, wait. But what we want people to do is go to sacsistecircle@gmail.com to RSVP. Then we will send the link.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put this because I found the flyer. So I'm gonna put all information into the comments.
And we're gonna have testimonies for her healing, and we're gonna have testimonies for what we do for families so that they can have health and the wealth that they want and how to acquire it at any time in their life, how to make that change. It's never too late. Never too late. And we want to teach people how to protect their income. When these people are passing away with this corona, like what's happening? Like, are they able to take care of their families? I just married my mom in February, and I didn't have to go ask anybody anything. Like, that wasn't even an issue for me. Like, you just cannot be in this world with all this wealth and not be a part of it. Our company, Rolanda, we had a midnight seminar on Friday. People all over the country were on the call. We had people, millionaires, people making $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 a year. Do you know what that is a month?
Wow.
That's like $30,000-$40,000 a month, and we're making this money doing what's right for families, making a change, making sure that we have our communities don't have to go and do anything that they are ashamed of in a crisis like this.
So Sister Jacqueline is on here. She is saying, where can I access the flyer for sharing? And I don't know how to.
Say that again, Rolanda.
Where can she access the flyer to share it? Because she says she's there.
Email. Oh, by email. Send us the link. It's called SACSTERCIRCLE@gmail.com. Then you will email that, and then you do the RSVP, and that's how you register. And tell everybody, because listen, if you can be in this situation and not be scared, this is actually a good time if you're not worried about wealth or your health, because you can go hang out. You don't have I don't even know what day it is sometimes. Like, what day is it? What am I supposed to be doing today? Oh, I'm going to get on Zoom somewhere. I might go to my office. But people are feeling a sense of urgency, Rolanda. Do you feel it? They want to know about their health. And we can help them get their health together right now, not later. You can even see a doctor now. I have my niece's friend was in the middle of breast cancer care, and they told her, "Oh, we'll get back to you in 3 months." So what are those cells doing during that time? People are losing their income like it's gone. That little stimulus check. What can you do with $1,200? I mean, you could. Now I take that back. Now I'm not going to minimize that. But for real, what is that going to do for your family? What if you have 4 or 5 children, husband and wife? What can you do with $1,200? Really? I mean, it's a bait. But listen, we're going to turn everybody into being empowered and feeling good about themselves on May the 2nd. Now, if you need to talk to Tamika before that, get a consultation, go on her website now. And we're going to have testimonies of everybody that she's helped, people that we've helped, and it's going to be lit.
And I just want to make a point, because this coronavirus, it is going to take out a lot of African Americans, a lot. If you see the news people, the medical people, they're already saying it, because we have so many underlying health conditions. And I know they're talking about the hypertension and the diabetes. And the main reason we have this is because we're just deficient in so many minerals and vitamins. D3, for example. If we knew to take a D3 supplement, that could help. I had a client, A1C was 11, but I started her on the basics, just a probiotics, D3, K2, magnesium, iodine, and vitamin C. She went back for her checkup in 1 month. Her A1C fell 4 points. Ooh. So you see, we're just so deficient, and we just don't know what to take. And that's why I want to get all African Americans to understand that the medications that they're taking, like metformin, the hypertension medication, the asthma medication, the heart medication, all the side effects in these medications has a side effect that can cause you to have respiratory infection. It makes you have respiratory infection. So the medications they're already taking compromises their immune system. On top of that, they don't know to take a D3. So when the corona attacks them, it's going to suppress the D3, suppress their vitamin C. And because they're already critical from taking the hypertension, the medication, those side effects, it's going to take them out just like that. So we got to understand when to put in our bodies to start fighting against, this virus.
So, Ms. Tamika, what would you suggest for people to include as a vitamin supplement for their children?
For corona?
No, just in general.
Oh, in general, okay.
You know how old school Black people in general, they would give you certain things.
So today with kids, eating all this trash food at schools, all these carbs and white sugars and all this stuff.
Milk.
Yes, conventional dairy, which is horrible because it builds up inflammation and mucus inside the body. Kids need probiotics, because the gut is linked to the brain. They need D3. They need magnesium. They need iodine. And let me say this very important piece of information to let all my sisters know this. My son asked me last month, Mom, why? And I'm sorry, we're gonna come back. Why are all the Asian kids so smart? Did you know that when pregnant women, if they take iodine, when you're pregnant, if you take a tons of iodine, your kid will come out with the highest IQ. The Asian community, all their diet, they have a high diet of iodine. They eat soy, tofu, they eat kelp, seaweed, iodine all the time. That's why their kids are super smart. So all my African American sisters, when they get pregnant, take iodine. You see, iodine is critical because it was stripped from the foods in the 80s and put in poisonous white table salt. And we shouldn't be eating white table salt because it's poison. So we got to take iodine as well. And kids need that because it's important for the brain. And the last one I will add is going to be zinc and then vitamin C.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I'm sorry, B complex.
You know what? I read a study they did, Rolanda. They gave high vitamin C to the mothers when they were pregnant, and then they continued vitamin C when the babies were born, and their IQ, their focus, everything was high. There's a study out about that.
Yes. Yeah.
And our children think that it's because, if you're Asian, you're smarter. No. It's what the diet is. It's what we don't get anymore.
Right on. What about when they talk about Hasidic?
Yes.
What is the difference between Hasidic and, say, just
alkaline?
Yeah, alkaline.
Oh yeah. So majority of people in the world today, we're all acidic because all we consume is the processed, the white sugars, the sodas, the fried foods. We're not eating the right food. So when we eat the bad foods and drink the milk and all the bad stuff, our body becomes acidic. And when you're acidic, diseases and cancers and sickness and illness, diabetes, hypertension, Ebola, corona live in acidic environment. But when you understand how to make your body alkaline, and you can do this very easily by, like, if you're sick, a lot of my cancer clients, I'll have them to make a baking soda, blackstrap molasses mix. This will actually get your body alkaline really quick while they're taking their supplements. So alkalinity is super important because when your body is alkaline, that means your immune system is super strong, your gut health is super good, and you have no inflammation or very low inflammation inside of your body. That's what's going to make your body alkaline. Eating all the plant-based foods, all the healthier foods, your sprouted grains, leave this 100% wheat. That's poison. White bread, white poison, white salt, white sugar, everything white is poison. So you want to leave all that stuff alone. When you buy bread, you want to make sure it's sprouted grain, ancient grains, or spelt. Even sourdough. Sourdough is made from unbleached flour. We want to stop buying gold medal flour. Do you know, and I know that's all that our folks bought, there is a byproduct in white flour, gold medal, called alloxin. Scientists feed alloxin to rats in labs when they want to come up with new treatments for diabetics. So we want to know why in the United States there's 30.3 million people with diabetes and 84.1 million pre-diabetes. Now that's an epidemic, but they don't want to talk about that because they're making $327 billion off of diabetics a year. So they're going to be quiet about that. Yeah.
Sister Tina says, I'm currently using pink Himalayan salt. Is that a good alternative to regular white salt?
Pink Himalayan is the salt we should be eating because it contains 84 plus trace minerals that our body actually needs. So we should be eating pink Himalayan salt. And there's a salt solé that people can make. If you go to Trader Joe's and you can get the $1.99 pink salt and you get a glass, like a jelly jar, clean it out, dry it out, pour half of that, half of the salt, pink salt in that jar, fill it up with spring water, let it sit for 24 hours. And every day, not every day, but you want to do at least 3 times a week. Take a teaspoon of this and put it in like 6 ounces of water or organic apple juice and drink it down. This way, you'll be getting 84 trace minerals that our body needs that we don't even get.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Sister KK says she just went to your site, Tamika, and clicked on the book, Healing from God's Medicine Cabinet. However, it says, I ordered the Sick and Cell Natural Healing Please send me the new book.
Yeah, and you know what? Thank you so much. Thank you for the support.
That's cute.
My company was called Sickle Cell Natural Healing first. And so when people purchase the book, the name of the company with the book show up. But no, I promise you, I will send you the right book. This one right here. And this book, Rolanda, has everything. When I say the unforeseen truth about our health, I talk about the poisonous toothpaste that we've been using for years, Colgate Crest, poison. It causes low IQ in kids. It causes dental fluorosis and gum disease. We should be brushing with natural fluoride, which is calcium fluoride. Bentonite clay reverses gum disease.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about, I feel like you should be talking to programs that basically talk to pregnant women. Because I feel like I think you have to start in the womb with the habits that's really going to help you be a better person health-wise.
In the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning. And there's a lot of mothers who, I believe every mother wants to be healthy. If she
Oh yeah. And see, this is the reason.
Go ahead.
This is the reason why when I consult, everybody I consult with, no matter what their issue is, it could be cancer, diabetes, hypertension, whatever it is, I start them over from the basics. So I teach people the basics. And that's the difference in me, because somebody can go to a naturopath and just say, oh, I got hypertension. They're just going to treat you for that hypertension. They're going to give you something natural for that hypertension. But what I do, I tell people everything they need. You're going to need a probiotic. You're going to need a B complex. You're going to need vitamin C, because you need vitamin C to help your iron absorb inside of your body. Because I don't want people to come back to me. So I'm going to give people everything they need up front for all healing, along with whatever they come into me for.
I had 5 minutes to go to say
May 2nd.
Yeah, no, but what, May 2nd? Definitely May 2nd. But I'm just thinking in terms of the mental mindset.
Yes, I got something for that too.
That we really struggle with in terms of being healthy.
Yes.
Being just healthy and including the things in the diet. When I was diagnosed with diabetes, I remember my nephew came over and he had took all kind of stuff out of my house. He's like, you don't need this, you don't need this. And then he had one of my assistants, a student and she would do this, and they all had keys in my house. They'd be like, you don't need this, and you don't need this, and they don't even buy this stuff because it don't even make sense. But it's the thing of like really programming yourself.
Yes.
Do those healthier things. And I think since the COVID, I've even increased, even though I had already started, but it's something more about, creating things that I want to eat, like, that I know that are healthy. I'm considering what's going into the meal plan, or as I walk these 5 miles every morning, thanks to Christy.
Yes.
I feel good. So then I feel like I don't want to be chancing it by eating bonbons, because I'm a bonbons person. Like, I haven't had ice cream in years, and then I walk past and see the bonbons. It was like, oh my God, this is bonbons. Because I haven't had bonbons in like at least 15, 20 years. So, but now I know, like, Lon, you can't eat the bonbons. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. So, I just feel like it's a part of programming us to do the right thing and to not be. I think sometimes Black folks get caught up in the shame of what we think is not successful.
Yes.
Or that it's country. Because all the stuff I learned from people from the South and from rural areas when I've traveled in the world. Like, people going to pull stuff off the tree and be like, you need to be eating this because you'll feel better. You're here. You're supposed to eat this. Or we don't do that because that's kind of country.
Yeah, exactly.
That's healthy.
Right. Let me tell you this. Now, we do want to eat healthy, and we need to make sure that we stay doing that majority of the time. Yep. But every now and then we're gonna want a piece of cake. Yeah. So let me tell you what, them days you want to get a bonbon, ma'am, get you some milk thistle. Milk thistle is amazing because milk thistle will detox all that junk out of your liver. And milk thistle also activates glutathione inside the body, and glutathione is the mothership of all antioxidants. So just know if you
where your school at, sis? Where your school at? Go ahead and put a course. I don't want to pay for that course because really seriously.
Rolanda, here's what we have been working. Christy and I have been working with Tamika about is we got to get her out there. I wanted her. She needs to be in St. Louis, Louisiana, with those people. But here goes. People say health is expensive. No, being sick is expensive.
Certainly is.
Being out of the productive stage of your life is expensive, and that's what we want to do. We got to market this lady. She's got to teach people to teach people to teach people, and we gotta work. She started off with her own family, so that shows the success. Her mom had diabetes, and her child hasn't seen a doctor in how many years? 8 years.
8 years. He's been 10 years. 10 years, no crisis.
So it's expensive, but it's not expensive to get your health together. And we want everybody to consult with her. Like it is like when we get done with people, they're going to feel hope. They're going to feel like they can get healthy within days, not months or years.
Exactly. Within days.
We're going to teach them how to build their wealth, how to protect their wealth, how to send their children to start off with iodine to college and not have to go where the little scholarship sent them or not go at all. We're going to empower our people.
Yeah.
We built this country. We're the only human beings that have been transferred from one continent to another. Sickle cell is the only genetic disease that was transferred from one continent to another. They took our culture, they took our money, they took our babies, and we're going to take it all back because we're going to be healthy and wealthy, and we're going to spread it. We're going to be out here talking to people. That's why I got so upset and did that video the other day, because I want people to know you don't have to give in to Corona. Corona is just another one of the million viruses that circulate in this world. We shouldn't have to be afraid. We should be standing up and saying, I'm so immune to, worthy and strong. I'm not worried about Corona. I'm not worried about Corona. I'll pop them vitamin C's and D's and B's. We got so much stuff going on. But here's the deal, Rolanda. People are going to say, I do that already. But what Tamika taught me is that you're not doing enough.
That's right.
You're not taking it enough. You're not taking it frequent enough. And you gotta get somebody like Tamika. Don't wing it. That's what we tell people. Stop winging it. Stop getting information here and there and get it the way you need it so you can really prosper with your health. And we teach people, like, don't wing your wealth. I got my insurance off of the internet. I got my insurance from pennies. I got my insurance. Look, you need the full information. That's what the Jewish people do. Well, the fake Jews. Oh, oops, I'm sorry. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They take care of each other. They send their children to medical school so they can learn the information, and then they figure out how to give them the right information. They know how to eat. They've been eating good for years. And we're going to empower our community. Tamika needs to be with that Black Infant Health organization, teaching those mothers, as soon as you find out you want to get pregnant, this is what you got to do.
Yes.
When you get pregnant, this is what you got to do. Then May 2nd, you're going to find some of that out. But the real deal is when you consult with Tamika or you get a consult one-on-one with me and my husband. Rolanda, you already know.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, tell us a little bit, Miss Patricia, what you and your husband would be bringing in terms of the financial health. What are some of the things we need to gain information on financial?
Everything: debt elimination, asset management, asset acquiring. We also teach people how to send your children to college, and other companies are doing it for you throughout their life as they're growing up. Like your nephew, he should have at least $100,000 in his account. Where you want to go, what car you want, what apartment you want to get. And we also teach people how to do the right thing with their 529 plans that they already have, maybe or maybe not. They may not even know about it. And we teach people also that retirement. Like, I was able to leave nursing at 50. And I haven't looked back. I'm not even going to tell you how old I am, and that's because I got people like Tamika taking care of me, making sure I'm good, and I got well, I'll tell you, I'm 65, and I will be 66 in July, and I am like feeling the best of the best of the best. Christy always tell me, "You too feisty, mommy." I'm like, "What?" Let me tell you something. We're going to take care of everything financial. That's what we do, Rolanda. Everything financial. for our families. And your consultation with us is free because it takes a long time to educate and change the way we think about money. And we don't charge you for our consultation, but what you do when we get you situated with what you need, those companies will pay us. And they pay us very, very well. And we don't worry about how much you ask, how many questions you ask. You're gonna ask a lot of questions because you've been bamboozled and hoodwinked with this finance. We are accepting being broke, and it's not okay. It's not okay.
Not okay.
And we know that wealth and wellness really does fit together.
Yes.
WW.
It really does fit together. Okay, somebody just said yes. They're agreeing with you what you're saying. Yes, yes, yes. So May 2nd, 10 to noon.
Yes.
And Christy's been so gracious enough to put the link up for folks as well. Thank you, Christy. And also I put your website up and send your information up as well, because I think it is so, so, so important. This is major. Wealth and wellness, the two W's.
Yes.
Wealth.
Look, when you get that wealth, you want to live long enough to spend it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like my uncle say, I want to spend all my money. I ain't leaving nothing here. And he 84, 85 years old, traveling, got his money stacked up, ready to start back traveling.
Right now.
He drinks ginger tea all day long.
That's awesome. Keep the information down.
Yeah, I think it's also important to think about that generational wealth. Like,
Yes.
how do we leave something? Because I also think that sometimes we be trying to be ghetto fabulous, and then you look at your descendants, and then we talk about other people, but other people you put up for generations. Like every time I drive to LA and ride past all those aqueducts, I think about that man who basically in the 1800s went down the state of California and bought up people water rights, and people didn't even know what they were selling.
Didn't even know.
Wow.
Didn't
Had
even know.
no clue. So he was definitely thinking about generations. He knew he was never going to see in eons.
Yeah.
And now all they do is go to the mailbox and get a check.
Yeah.
They don't even know
Mailbox
what
money.
it,
They
I
got a
don't
mailbox.
even know where it came from.
Yeah. So that kind of, I'm always very interested in stuff like that, like to leave
Mhm.
the place much better than the way it was given to me. You know,
Exactly.
I didn't. You have newer technology, you mix it with some of that old school, and you can leave something for generations you're never gonna see. And I think that's important. That wealth and wellness. How do we make sure we're leaving those blueprints
Mm-hmm.
with some money with it attached to it, not just your dream, but some capital to help you keep it on track.
Right, and you can live long enough to see your legacy being realized.
Right.
Like you don't have to, give into being ill and then passing away at 70 and 60. You shouldn't. That shouldn't be happening.
But Hosea 4:6 says, "For the lack of knowledge, my people perish."
There it is.
Right on. So as we wrap up, ladies, and this has been awesome. I definitely enjoyed today. This has been just even better than me going for that walk this morning. I just like for real, and I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, including getting the information out. So, what would you like to leave us with in the closing?
So I would like to say that I welcome, and my prayer is that we pack this call to the fullest, to the max, because we're living in a time today where now this information I'm going to provide is critical and is crucial because they are targeting African Americans. Our populations are being targeted. Over 70% of Black people have died in Louisiana, and they are really coming after us. So we gotta really get on board. But I'm going to bring information about true health and healing. I'm going to tell the truth on how and how that we need to how to be healthy. The things that we need to be taking. I'm going to give step by step by step everything that we should be putting into our bodies in order for our bodies to be healthy. Everything that we need to put into our bodies to prevent sickness, prevent heart disease, prevent Alzheimer's, prevent Parkinson's, prevent corona, prevent everything. It's going to be a wealth of information talking about mammograms, how women shouldn't do that. We should be doing thermography screening instead. You don't want to get radiation. I'm going to be talking about so much valuable information. People do not want to miss this. This is going to be a life-changing event. This is going to save your loved ones, reverse so many chronic illnesses. This is a time for us now to stand up and take our health back.
Right on. What about you, I be want to say Mama Patricia because it just sounds like you're my elder. So I say Patricia, I just feel like my mama gonna be like, ooh. We're gonna
to it. Listen, what we're gonna do is we're gonna empower people with information. We're gonna empower you. First of all, get rid of all that bad information and bad stuff that we believe and have been taught, and that we have bought things that weren't good for us, lost money, and then we're going to teach you how to build wealth with what you have. Make that change, like to that day, the day you meet with us, so that you can change all of that. No matter what happens in your life financially, we got the answer for it. We take care of two concerns in this world with finances: dying too soon and living too long. And if you don't have those two things taken care of, at some point in your life, somebody close to you or you are going to have a devastation that's going to change your life forever. And we want to make sure that doesn't happen. We can't change destiny, but we can help you deal with it so that it doesn't devastate you, knock you out the box, because that causes you to be ill. That causes stress. And then
there's herbs for stress. I got some herbs for stress.
Yes.
May 3rd. May 3rd.
May 2nd. May 2nd.
May 2nd. May 2nd.
But listen, before we get off the line, let me just say this. You don't have to wait for May 2nd to consult with Tamika. She got consultations. You can look on her website and see which one you want, and then it tells you what the cost of that is. You can contact my husband and I so we can get you started. Don't wait till May 2nd. But if you do, May 2nd, get online so you can get that information. But we're not going to be able to do everything. It's just 2 hours. So you're going to be saying, why it's just 2 hours? Because we're going to be able to do one-on-ones with people. Okay?
Right on. Thank you, ladies, so much. And thank you, Kristen, for hooking it up. And look for it, May 2nd, 10 a.m. to noon. Get with two sisters and all they have to offer. Wealth and wellness, family. We deserve to be well. We deserve to be healthy. We deserve to be financially wealthy.
Amen.
And with that, y'all, we'll see you next week on Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm ending the broadcast. All right. I just ended the broadcast.
Okay.
So thank you.